Hello and welcome to Stanford Scholar. In this talk, we will discuss the research paper Community-Based Data Validation Practices in Citizen Science. This paper talks about the data validation practices used in citizen science by internet-based communities of volunteers. In the current state, verification of data quality represents a major problem that halts substantial scientific progress. Therefore, the focus of this paper is to understand internet-based interactions around data quality in order to find possibilities to improve validation. So what is the importance of this problem? In spite of recent successes in citizen science, the scientific community remains skeptical about the data quality of the datasets. Therefore, scientific progress has slowed down. So why is this problem difficult to crack? The citizen science volunteers are typically untrained and some could be fraudulent as well. Data submitted by them could be incomplete and with errors. Detecting such cases is difficult due to large numbers. Furthermore, data quality standards are dependent on project context and the intended use of different data consumers such as academia, government, and hobbyists. This wide range of potential users makes data curation and validation a non-trivial process. So what are the primary research questions that the paper is trying to answer? The first question is, what are the processes through which online community members can collaboratively improve the quality of data generated by volunteers? So what are the primary research questions that the paper is trying to answer? These questions are interesting because, first, there are many initiatives based on collaborative effort or crowdsourcing that generate data. What would be more interesting is what if these online communities could also improve the quality of their data. This could increase the amount of trust in these datasets, not to mention that the scientific community would be more open to accept it. Also, if the paper manages to determine the factors that influence the process of improving data quality, then it could raise awareness to the communities to adopt certain practices. Let's see a brief overview of some basic concepts. What is citizen science? Citizen science involves collaborations between scientists and volunteers for collecting, categorizing, transcribing, or analyzing scientific data. So why do we want data validation here? Validation is critical to ensuring the usefulness of citizen science data by establishing its quality. For example, in biology and ecology, without validation of species identifications, volunteers' observations are usually argued to have limited value. Let's see some of the present-day projects involving citizen sciences. Projects like Feeder Watch highly depend on the review of data by experts such as project scientists, trained project staff, or experienced volunteers. Effective use of proper information provenance and information stewardship can be seen as Wikipedia. This paper proposes a data quality evaluation based on the social media aspect, such as number of visits or agreements. The authors used an internet-based community which contributed to biodiversity data collection and analysis. This type of data is used extensively in ecology research and land management decision-making. The authors answered the first research question by identifying and describing the types of interactions that led to improvements in data quality. For the second question, they studied multiple characteristics of the records and tried to check which of them influenced data quality improvement.
So how did the authors do it? The authors used a mixed method approach consisting of three stages: data collection, data preparation, and data analysis. The data for this study came from two sources. First, participant observations in a citizen science project called BioCubes that used iNaturalist as a data management platform. And second, the data that was submitted to the site on a specific day. The demographics of the BioCube project involved science teachers, informal educators, social scientists, etc. It was observed that even the tech-savvy people faced substantial hardships in using the mobile apps. Some participants chose not to upload any data rather than using an unpracticed app. These observations were critical in identifying how the system recorded provenance and interpreting the findings. After obtaining the data as described, The authors identified characteristics of records that predicted data validation interactions. Three dependent variables, namely quality grade, number of agreements, and taxon level, were selected. They represented the concepts of informativity and reliability from both the user and the system perspective. The next stage was qualitative and quantitative analysis of data. The authors used the data retrieved from iNaturalist and tried to understand the context and behaviors that resulted in those specific data points. For quantitative analysis, they used linear and binary models to normalize the data among the variables with significant results. They were surprised to observe that the type of device used to upload the data had the most substantial impact on the research grade dependent variable. Before going through the experimental findings, let's remember that in biological classification, we have 8 ranks, from domain to species, where each rank becomes more specific in describing the organism. So let's see the results of this study. Records were more probable to reach research grade if they were submitted from a PC and did not ask for very specific details about the species being observed. Authors also experimented to find out which factors were significantly associated with more agreements. Quality grade status and taxon group predicted higher number of agreements, while using a mobile device to upload data predicted fewer agreements. The authors tried to find out which factors were significantly associated with records that had genus and species information, which are the proxies for higher informativity. It was found that the records that were submitted via PC had more specific information. So let's revisit the research questions and see if we have made any progress. The study evaluates the different quality of data based on the device type used. The authors pointed out a correlation between the quality of data and the device used. The choice of device may mask several other behavior variations but had a certain impact on the outcomes of community based data validation. These findings prompted us to question how well the current technology trends in citizen science meet the needs of the participants and the project, and how well the mobile apps are supporting the complex interactions in these communities. So, what did the authors conclude? Through this paper, the authors demonstrate that the choice of device depends on the mobility of the subject. Static subjects such as plants are well captured by mobile devices, but for birds, optical cameras and PCs are more effective. Community based data validation methods with features based on social interactions can enhance data quality and help remove skepticism around data collected by citizens. The authors also suggested that although shiny mobile apps may be suitable for attracting new participants, but they actually deter further data refinement. This is in part due to the steep initial learning curve and one app for everything nature of the software. A potential application of the ideas presented in the paper could be in the domain of astronomy, for spotting unknown celestial objects by inspecting a large number of satellite images. Another application could be in the formation of training data for translations among different languages. It could also be used in computer vision for classifying ambiguous training data for recognition systems. In conclusion, the authors have investigated the characteristics of records that affected the outcomes of data quality management in an internet based community. The findings report the processes which led to the improvement in reliability and informativity. In the end, implications for design, practices, and future research are presented. Thanks for watching and see you next time.